Hello, everyone, and welcome to another elite episode of the Get Authentic with Marcus show. I'm your host, Marques Ogden. On today's episode, we are joined by Mr. Russell Voss. But before we got Russ to the stage, I want to thank one of our amazing sponsors. We want to thank Money Ripples, owned by Mr. Chris Miles. Money Ripples helps their clients to create a plan through alternative ways of investing to create a financial base and legacy for their family. We thank Chris Miles and Money Ripples for sponsoring this episode. Now, here he is. Russ, how you doing today, Russ?
I'm amazing, my friend. How are you, Marcus?
I'm doing well, thank you. Russ, first question, sir. What does the word authentic slash authenticity mean to you?
It means coming from your heart, working from your heart. It's working from spirit, from love instead of ego.
Mm.
It's about getting rid of the old conditioning we were taught as children to suck it back, don't say anything, don't talk about feelings, and it's getting rid of that and actually coming from your soul, your true self.
Ladies and gentlemen, getting rid of programming or what we learned as children or learned early in our life and coming from a place of speaking from your heart, speaking from your soul, being someone that's all about being your true self. And that's absolutely sensational. Russ, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey and the work you do now to help people and your clients.
Whoa, that's a big story. But anyway, it started at 12. When I was 12, I was raised pretty tough because back in those days, that's what they did. They disciplined the kids to make them tough, so to speak, to the point where I nearly ended my life. I was looking for ways to end my life at 12. And then by the time my school teacher actually saved my life, she gave me a
Mm,
contract mowing her lawns. And
mm,
I had a sense of identity, and she started talking to me about life. Anyway, at 16, I joined the Navy for 6 years. I was a chef. In 1980, I had my first disastrous marriage, and I started learning. No one teaches us how to do relationships, but
mm.
I had a pretty disastrous 4 years relationship there. 89, the second relationship. Two beautiful children. I didn't want to break the family up, but there was only one person working, and I couldn't make anybody else work on themselves. But we had two beautiful girls, and on the next relationship breakup, that's when everything hit. My body was full, absolutely full. I couldn't take. I was the trauma or the grief of ending another relationship because of infidelity. I'm going. My body just couldn't store it. I didn't know that every time I suck back these feelings, the body automatically stores it. It doesn't go away, and it sits in your body and creates dis-ease in your body. I didn't know all this, of course. So I just started spiraling down. I come to what they say a T junction in life, where if I turn left, well, I wouldn't be here today. But what happened was I got into this really deep hole, and all that was there was me and my pain. Nothing on the outside world was coming into my mind except for all the rubbish that I've been told as a kid, all the put downs, all the bullying, all the discipline, all the crap. And there was nothing, negative thoughts and the pain. That's it. So I decided to end my pain, but something didn't feel right. I didn't know what it was. There was a lot of bargaining going on inside. So I actually called somebody, and he said, "Well, what about your girls, Rusty?" And I'd actually forgotten all about my two beautiful girls, and that's what snapped me out of this vortex of no return at this T junction, and I turned right instead. So in other words, I went and got some help.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
worked on my sorry.
No, keep going. This is great.
Yeah. Okay. So I worked on myself for 6 months. And over that 6 months, I was using a healer and a counselor, social worker, somebody I knew. And my whole life turned around. I went from being a victim of life, Marcus, to being the creator of my life, where I actually designed the life that I want, sort of living from default. So I actually started doing some personal development since 1987, learning how the mind works. And so then all of a sudden I had to apply what I've learned, because information is wonderful. But if you don't apply it, it's useless. It's only entertainment. So I had to start applying, because the pain of change was less than the pain of staying the same. I stood in front of this person. I said, "Look at me. I'm 40 years of age, and the decisions I've made in life are not working. Teach me how to live. I don't know what's going on." So we just for the whole 6 months, we just started the process of getting rid of all this suppressed energy and talk and counselling, and just slowly offloading all this. And well, I didn't realise how much my life had changed until a few years later. I was reflecting on my life. And I'm going, within 5 years, the old Russ, where he was compared to now, was a massive difference. I was happier, I was lighter, my life was fulfilling. I'm going, I've never felt like this before. But then I got frustrated, because I'm going, why haven't I learned this information before? So I'm like, why isn't this available to us in schools? We get taught how to be man, to be macho, how to be suck it up and be a man and be strong. You don't talk about feelings. But that's our undoing. That's our undoing totally. And in Australia, more than 7 men a day kill themselves because they just can't handle their emotions. So I decided then that I'm going to be the advocate. I'm going, the amount of the gap that I've seen between where I was and where I am now, I'm going, this information is gold. It needs to be put out there. So this is what I'm doing. I'm teaching people. I'm teaching people how to live from their heart, how to look at themselves. I started off. I just want men to be the best partner and the best dad and the best man they can possibly be, and the best role model, because we need role models. We need good role models in the world today, because we're lacking so much. You know, I started working in 2004. I started working with people, volunteering and working in crisis, suicide intervention and prevention, youth shelters, community counselling. In 2007, I went through another relationship, decided to end another relationship, because the lady decided she wanted children. And I said at the beginning, I don't want children. So the whole thing changed. 2009, I became a social worker. I worked with families and children when they're youth with challenging behaviour. It was a beautiful job, but it was in the middle of the desert, and it wasn't conducive to my country life, so to speak. Worked in the hospital for 4 years. As I've been a social worker for a very long time, well, in the field for about 15 years. I worked in palliative care for a long time, oncology, and all the different parts of hospital. Moved to Thailand for 12 months, but that didn't go to plan, nor did my Thai wife. I learned so much about myself, putting yourself in the situation where they don't speak the language and they don't understand you. It really, and your sense of safety just goes out the windows. You're in a foreign country. It was a really interesting experience. Spent a couple of years in disability services, but I didn't fit in. But in 2020, I'd recuperated enough of my passion to for my passion, to my goals and my vision to resurface. But I got a little bit lost along the way. So, like I said, I want to teach the gap between where I was at 40 and where I am now. So I've designed a program for couples called the Inner Harmony Blueprint, and I've developed also another program called the Authentic Dad Program for around dads who want to improve the quality of their life and be an amazing man, an amazing partner and role model. And look, at the end of the day, if they do what they say, I get results and fast, because I'm a social worker. I've done a lot of work around metaphysics, neuroscience, psychology. I've done a lot of work around this area. So, and there's plenty of testimony to prove it, because I speak, Marcus, from professional as well as personal experience, from lived experience. And so at the moment, I'm actually writing a book, and it's a lifeline for dads in crisis to get them from crisis to safety. And that's because that's where I was. That's the book I needed back 26 years ago, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Because the book follows every step of the way that I got to where I am now. It's not rocket science. It's just having the courage to sit in your uncomfortableness and fully feel those feelings that you're experiencing, so that the body can naturally dissolve it. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. It's nothing. There's nothing woo-woo. There's nothing, because, like I said before, if we experience some feelings and we suck them back because we've got to be strong, can't complain about it, the body stores it, but it waits and waits and waits. And with my experience from suicide intervention and prevention, it only takes one significant life event, which is subjective, which is totally related to that person, which is a 10 out of 10 intensity, and that'll trigger every feeling that you've sucked back, and it will just come up and hit you like a train, like it did me, because it'll just send you in that vortex. And if you don't know what's going on, you can very easily take your own life. And this is the problem with men today. We want to be heard, we want to be seen, we want to be the best person we can possibly be, but we don't know how to do it. A lot of us weren't taught how to be a boy, how to be a man. So that's where I'm at the moment. I actually love what I do. I just love it, because I see changes. I see people change within 1 or 2 sessions. They start applying what I teach them. This is based in information I've learned since 1987. And once they start applying it, they start changing their thinking. They start taking responsibility for their life. They start accepting that they can't control another person. They start realizing that the way we think isn't who we are. It's who we've been taught to be. So, and that's what happens. So when we understand that we can change the way we think from fixed, this is just the way I am, to a growth mindset. What do I need to learn to get through this? What do I need to learn to communicate better with my partner? What do I need to learn to be the best dad I can possibly be? When they have that sort of thinking, and they fully understand and fully love, accept, and respect themselves, and accept their behaviors, own their behaviors, and be responsible, and start looking at gratitude and self-love and respect, that's when life changes. Because you're no longer being a victim. You're looking and owning all the things that you say and do. And then we have to learn how to forgive, how to let go of all that resentment, because resentment, it's like rat poison. It's like drinking rat poison and expecting the other person to die. It's just a waste of time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course, on top of that, it's when we start looking at self-respect of mind, body, and soul. If we don't respect ourselves, how on earth can we expect somebody else to respect us? When we look at the man in the mirror, who do we see? And if we feel awkward, really uncomfortable, this is what other people see as well. If you look in my poor old dad, I love him dearly. He did the best he could with me. But back in the like in the early 60s, he just did the best he could. But he could never talk about his childhood because he just broke into tears too easily, and then he sucked it back. But he was never taught how to fully feel those feelings. So thankfully, Dad and I were the best of mates before he died. So then I'd teach people communication skills, how to listen. We were taught how to talk, but not how to listen. And we were taught to, because of that, we don't realize that when people talk, it's only their point of view. This is what I used to teach in social work. What people are saying is just their point of view. You've got your point of view, and the other person's got theirs. And when arguments start, it's from usually unmet expectations or expectations that were never negotiated in the first place. So you've got two people talking about their points of view, trying to get each other to agree to their point of view. It doesn't, because your point of view is only worthy for you and true for you. So it's about listening to what one person said, listening to learn. What's their point of view? This is my point of view. How can we move forward through this? And this is what I'm talking about with a fluid or a growth mindset. It's about what can we do to move forward. It's not us against each other. It's us against the challenge. How can we move forward from this? And then we go into relationship. What's a relationship look like? We've never been taught that. It's about emotional safety. It's about trust and integrity, showing up when you say you're going to, being that beautiful person that's authentic, that's not going to play around behind someone's back, because all those sorts of things only happen because you don't love, respect, and accept yourself unconditionally, warts and all. And then, of course, the huge thing that people don't realize is we become what we consume. So if you're going to consume war games, if you're going to consume all the social media and all the negativity, we become what we feed ourselves. So, and through all our senses, and that includes the environments we hang around. I had a friend of mine, he moved in with me for 6 weeks. He was a pessimist, I'm an optimist. And everyone, within a couple of weeks, everybody was saying to me, "You've become so negative lately, Russ." I couldn't work out what it was. I thought, there's nothing. But they kept on saying it. And then I realized he was rubbing off on me. So we don't realize how quick we change and not even realize it. So the company we keep is a huge influence on how we present. So like I've seen in many books that I've read, many seminars I've been to, we are a total sum of the 5 people we hang around the most. So if you want to grow, hang around with friends who are going to support you and encourage you to grow, because they're also doing the same thing themselves. And then we go into healing, of course, the concept of healing, releasing what we've sucked back all our lives. And when we understand that it's perfectly okay to feel vulnerable, and that's what a lot of guys don't like doing. I get, not very often, but every so often I do get a guy that will come in, but once we start talking about feelings, they can't do it. And they don't understand that the journey in life is always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And we always step back for us to go, we have to make a decision now, whether we stay where we are, which is quite okay, or we have to make the decision to move forward. and then we grow further, and then we step back again. But every time we step back, we're always that one little bit better than we were before, more emotionally mature than more mature, more intelligent than we were before, because we started connecting with our soul. Because in social work, we separate the person from the behavior. We always have a beautiful soul, but the way most men, or the most of us, when we engage in life, we're actually engaging from what we've learned from our behaviors. So my job is to align people's soul, change it, get them to be responsible for their behaviors, so they work more in line with their soul. Because at the soul, we all have it. What the universal law is, you're a beautiful person, whether you believe it or not. And when you don't believe it, it's like swimming against the current. And when you do believe it, and when you fully accept, respect, and love yourself unconditionally, warts and all, it's like swimming with the current. And that's when you take full responsibility for your actions. You stop pointing the finger and blaming people. You start owning it. And then you start going, what am I grateful for? What do you have in your life? What are you grateful for? Every day I give thanks every day, because I nearly wasn't here. And it's just, life is, you've got so much to live for in life. There is so much in life when you start practicing gratitude and living from your authentic self, getting in touch with your values. What are your values? What do you value in life? What do you value in a relationship? And when we spend time to develop a friendship with someone without the intimacy, we have the opportunity to develop a friendship on an authentic level, finding out what the other person's values are. But the moment we become intimate, it changes the chemicals in the brain, and the frog becomes a prince or princess. And that lasts for about 10 to 16 months. And so that means we're blinded. We're blinded by everything because we just love the person. We're going through the honeymoon stage and all this lovely, lovely, lovely. And 16 months later, all of a sudden, the chemicals disappear, and all of a sudden they turn back into the frog. and most of the time, we're living together. We have a child on the way, and it's not the person I want to be with, because they are showing their true self.
I love it. And here's the thing, right, Russ? This is exactly what it was all about, man. Like shedding light on what you bring to the table. So, I appreciate you stopping by today. I'm gonna have we can connect with you in the show notes. I'll have your information, your website, your email. I'm sure people can connect with you. And everybody, I hope you gain from this interview. In life, get to know someone, but get to know yourself first. When you know yourself, it allows you to then connect with others. So the authentic tip of this great interview: in life, be an individual who takes his time or her time, know yourself, be authentic, be true, know in your soul who you are, build authentic relationships with people. And then as you get to build those relationships, let other things develop over time, but spend time getting to know who you are talking to, your friendships, your relationships in that regard. Again, my name is Marques Ogden. I am the host of the Get Authentic with Marques show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.